Hello everybody, my name is Poe, and of course, this is maybe one of the final videos that I'm going to be doing for Miraculous Ladybug. Well, except for maybe two more that will be either this week or some, other time in the future. Right now, I'm just going to say a few things. One, this is going to be the final um, collection review video for basically the last four episodes I'm going to be doing, as you can tell. Now, there is a few things that you might notice that I did actually kind of have some things for the title and also the thumbnail. If you saw that the numbers, some of it seem a bit weird, and why did I label it like that? Well, they'll be explained later in the video. You can obviously look at the timestamp in the description if you want to skip to that part. As much as I want to say, I'm going to say it like this right now. The season 5 of Miraculous is not over yet, and while I am going to be watching the rest of the episodes, I am not going to do any reviews for them until, of course, all the episodes are actually up and running. And the reason why, well, you guys might need to look into the timestamp, and then you'll notice why. I would specifically go and check out like the episode 12 part, because you guys would know, and I will say some stuff from there. Of course, there's four videos. I keep messing up these things. What I'm going to say is that there are four episodes I'm going to be reviewing right now, but I am going to keep the last two to a super bare minimum as much as I can. As for the reasons why, again, I'll explain in the episode 12 part. But right now, again, if you haven't checked the other reviews, you can go check it out right there. 1, 2, then 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, basically. Right now, this is my group review for episodes 9, 10, 12, and 16. Why did we skip odds 11 and the others? Well, you'll find out sooner or later. But I think at this point, if you have watched the series from season 1, 2, and 3, and possibly 4, you will understand why some of these episodes are missing. Either way, let's get into the review. I cannot speak, and I think my tongue is I think I need to practice my tongue right now, because to be honest, I can't really speak normally. My lungs are okay, just Jesus Christ. I guess I still need more time to recover, at least for my tongue. Episode 9, Elation. And this might be the longest one, because this is one of that episode. Remember when I said back in like episode what number was it? Was it 9? No, this is 9. I think it was, let's see. It was 7. Episode 7 actually like predicted this part, and it was a very good setup. So, let's get going. So we begin this episode off with Ladybug, Cat Noir finishing a mission. However, after this, when Cat Noir was going to leave, Ladybug pulled up 2 chairs and a table with some, bakery sweets. The reason why is because if you haven't noticed or like remembered from basically almost like every episode since like maybe season 5 of episode 3 or 4, maybe it was 4, most likely 4. But yeah, Ladybug has a crush on Cat Noir. And at this point in time, it seems like the roles are actually now reversed at this point. Which I don't really mind, but at least the context of their relationship being reversed is actually much more better than what it was before. As they actually have a little more detail on each other and stuff like that. But you'll understand that later. They'll understand each other a little bit more in this episode. However, I will say this, that while I have a lot of things to talk about this episode, most of it would be the love plot, because the villain side, like the one like about the fighting and all that stuff, like most of us would watch for, this is mostly just for the people who are doing the ship between Marinette and Cat Noir. And to be honest, it may be one of the best representations of shipping, but of course in their own ways, like it's not going to work either way. And of course, yeah, I kind of gave you spoilers on that, but this episode is super interesting. And after this part right here, um, Cat Noir would actually think that this is just a test, that to see if this test to see if Ladybug would actually get through Cat Noir, and Cat Noir would just flirt back and actually fell in love with Ladybug. However, Cat Noir, thanks to the convincing of Ladybug from like seasons like 3 and 4, he kind of stopped flirting with Ladybug, basically. For one thing, currently in this season, Cat Noir, as Adrian, loves Marinette, so he's actually focusing on that instead of actually Ladybug. And while he does love Ladybug, not to the extent anymore, and only views her as a very good partner, basically, for hero work. And Ladybug is just upset and just goes along with it. It's like, yeah, you passed the test. And then Cat Noir's happy, so he leaves. Cat Noir is about to de-transform, but then he gets swarmed by his fans. And remember, Cat Noir at this point in time does have fans, unlike season 1 and 2 where he was a nobody. Here are some more people, because that one girl just kind of signaled everybody that Cat Noir is here, and Cat Noir needs to escape. He does de-transform and basically give Plague cheese to recharge. And of course, since, Plague announced for food, Adrian seems to want to have food as well. And behind Plague, you see here, is actually the bakery where Marinette lives. And so he goes there and asks for some, bakery sweets. Both Marinette and Aya, about this point, we got a little bit more further into, they're actually kind of arguing about, and it's kind of stupid, but in all honesty, you cannot really blame Aya for this, but at the same time, it is a little bit stupid that they're arguing that Marinette cannot be in love with Cat Noir. She is in love with Adrian. That's what Aya's argument is, but Marinette's like, listen, I can love whoever I want to love, and all that stuff, If the superhero work is interfering with my love for Adrian, so I would choose Cat Noir instead. But Aya did bring up a good point that basically at this point, Cat Noir has been conditioned to not be in love with Ladybug at all, says Aya, But then, Marinette's like, oh, I can change that again, and stuff like that. Yeah, you already know where this is going, and yeah, it's not really winning in her favors. But I'm gonna say this right now, that the more you hear from Marinette, she does go a little bit more lovey-dovey in her lines, but her attitude, her tone of voice is just annoyed and angry to Aya, even though she's speaking in a lovey-dovey voice, basically. Lovey-dovey lines, I should say. There was one point in this episode where she says, well, I think I'll also put a clip for that one on the channel as well, but she's like, I don't want Kissy Kissy Hamster anymore. I want Kissy Kissy Meow Meow. And the more I just kind of say that out loud, it is very embarrassing to say. I thought it was cute, but I think maybe if you're the person who's actually saying that, it is a bit embarrassing. But I think it's a cute line, honestly. And then, of course, I'm not going to do much for the talk of here for the interaction here, but also Marinette would also describe Cat Noir as she would describe Adrian, just a tiny bit more, mostly on his physique and, of course, his playfulness and attitude and his puns. Remember, thanks to season 4, Marinette, also known as Ladybug, loves Cat Noir's puns, apparently. Even though she gets annoyed, she actually secretly loves them, which is actually really still nice, but yeah. Of course, downstairs, Adrian is asking her parents for some sweets. I do apologize for the background noise there if you heard like a slam. There either is a storm, that was either the storm that's actually on right now, or my dad just slammed the door for some reason. He has a habit of that. Either way, you can see here Adrian. Adrian, as you can tell, he is a bit shy of being in Marinette's quote-unquote home and seeing her parents. Her parents are at, the mother is like questioning why is he here, but then the father is like, maybe he's here looking for Marinette. And to be honest, later down the line, Plague does confirm that he was basically there just to see Marinette, basically. So of course, the mother did call for Marinette to come down, but Marinette's like, no, she's busy with Aya and stuff like that. No other excuse except for just being busy with Aya. They told him he's just a little sad, but he'll wait for the goods and maybe Marinette to see if she changed her mind. I think that's what it is. But then later, I will not show the scene, but then one of a person who recognized Adrian from the Ring Alliance as the AI sees like Adrian wants to take a selfie and they're like, oh, I will share this everywhere on my social medias so people know that I'm with the guy who's on the Alliance. It's, to be honest, I feel like it makes sense, but then I just got the little cringe, whereas like it's similar to that, oh, it's that guy from Fortnite, and like yeah, it gives me a bit of a cringe, but in the context of this it kind of makes sense that newer people would not know who Adrian really is. But then again, like there's when Adrian got the bag of sweets, he walks out, and then a people who know that he is Adrian just ran after him basically. But then like of course Adrian cannot run anymore, so he has to stay with them. Yeah, the bag of sweets, it's the same ones that Ladybug actually gave to Cat Noir earlier in the episode. So yeah, even Plague actually remarks that you got the bag of sweets, but you just got there to see Marinette, didn't you? And yeah, I would like to show you that scene, but I'm going to skip that right now because, in all honesty, kind of a little rush here. Remember? Of course, Cat Noir did got away safely and transform. I guess the fans just gave up when he started to run too far for them. I really don't know why. Around this point, Marinette did actually get some fresh air, needs from fresh air from Aya, since because she wants to be in love with Cat Noir, but like of course nobody wants her to. Of course, in the next balcony, from behind there to maybe her right, I believe that Cat Noir is just waiting. He knows that Marinette's there, so he's just kind of waiting for her to pop up sooner or later. And I think Marinette at this point later, just a few seconds later, would have the idea to wait for Cat Noir because he will just be swinging by somewhere just in case, Yeah, so Marinette and Cat Noir are actually asking each other possibly the same question, possibly. I really don't know. Adrian did ask that, like, do you have feelings for me? And Marinette's like, yeah, but then she kind of twisted it to keep in line, trying to maybe, but in a flirtatious way that she is a fan. And Adrian's like, oh, okay. And then, like, kind of talk a bit more, and I don't remember how it goes, but then later it's like, oh, so you're one of those fans, and then Marinette's like, maybe a bit more than a fan, and yeah, okay, yeah, we get it. This is this is like dialogue that you would hear from like a romance show, and to be honest, I mean, like, I don't mind it. It's just a little weird, but also it's just super sweet. I think it's only weird since because throughout the whole show it never gone this deep. I mean, like, here's the thing. This show has always been focusing since season 2 or maybe season 3. It might be ever since season 3 is focusing more on the love plot than the action plot. Season 1 was more a bit action and romance, and then season 2 was a bit more action, less romance, and then we got this. Then season 4 was a bit more about relationships, which is again an even balance. I think this one just might only be involving with the romance when it needs to be, and then action when it needs to be, which is actually pretty good. Kind of wish it was mixed, but I mean, episodes like these are actually pretty good in my opinion. I like the slice of life type of thing. There is a villain in this one, just maybe not that noticeable, basically. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry if you guys hear any slamming. I have my door closed, so I don't know if you guys can hear the slamming because I can hear through the walls. Okay, yeah, this might be a weird face, but like, yeah, basically Cat Noir gave her a rose. And then Cat Noir offers her to get some ice cream. Marinette, of course, being in love and want to hang out with Cat Noir, says yes, and then they just kind of go, basically, to find the ice cream server maker. I forgot the ice cream maker's name. Ice cream man's name. I don't want to forget, but I think I just really forgot. I forget his name. The only reason why I forget the ice cream man's name is because he barely shows up. Like, since half from season 4, he kind of just disappears and only reappears when he needs to. Tiki and Aya are basically like talking about like the thing they did with Marinette, the talk with Marinette. Aya's like, you know, she's right. I shouldn't just be in control of her love life. She can love whatever she wants. If she loves Cat Noir, that's fine. And of course, finally, Aya agrees. And you think a best friend would already agree with Marinette, or at least their other best friend, I would say. But to be honest, in Aya's defense, she's been used to Marinette loving Adrian for so long that she doesn't want to change that norm, I guess. Of course, Tiki doesn't know about love, but she tries to help as best as she can. After this, Aya tries to find Marinette, but realizes that she's gone and don't know where she is. And since Tiki's with her, she knows that she's not actually doing superhero work. This is slightly a beautiful shot, but you can tell that the city is kind of plastered. But this is actually a really good shot, even though the contrast of colors is a bit weird. But then again, it's evening / night right now, basically. Cat Noir doesn't know where to find the ice cream man. Andre, I believe his name is now. I think I remember like the name of the ice cream man. His name's Andre. And then Marinette's like, oh, don't worry. Max actually has a GPS on him. So basically, everybody in town or the city knows where he would be. At least people who downloaded Max's app. So yeah, his name is Andre. And of course, Cat Noir and Ladybug, while they clumsily dance their way, that's because they're like tripping, but then they're trying to save themselves from falling. They kind of felt like a dance. So they ask for Andre for ice cream, but Andre refuses because for an obvious reason. So basically what happened actually right now is right here, since, you know, Andre basically said that, you know, Cat Noir likes Ladybug and Marinette likes Adrian. They both said no at the same time, and then it was basically out of context thing for both of them. That, you know, both of them hearing each other say they don't like the other person is just kind of sad. And then it kind of just made them like feel not to eat ice cream. And for Andre, he is also disappointed that basically they are just not just because they don't like each other, so to speak. It's more like so that they don't like the person that he assumes they're best with. It's a little selfish, yes, but I think mostly the feelings of that should be more towards Noir and Ladybug. Andre has his own feelings, but the scene really wants you to feel for basically these two, and both of them saying no to their respective previous crushes is just saddening for both of them, and they both realize that, you know, maybe they don't like each other as much. Not knowing that, for us knowing that they don't know each other's secret identities, this is basically kind of painful. But after this, they're sitting at the beach, basically, which I don't know how far they had to go to, but yeah, it's basically the beach. I don't know why the Statue of Liberty is right there. I think it's maybe a memorial. I believe there's some sort of memorial for there over there in France, but I don't know. I don't really remember exactly. But around this time, both of them are discussing about like, do you used to love this person? And the other one's like, yeah, but it didn't work out. And then of course the other one says, how about you? And they respond with the same answer. Now the thing is that for both of these two, they're trying to like do some small talk at this point. I'll skip most of the interaction here because it's best just to watch it. And I'm assuming, just like with most of the stuff that I say is the most important scenes, you can see it on YouTube basically. So yeah, go check it out if you want to see this scene on YouTube. If it's not there, and after this recording basically, if I don't see it, I will post it up on my channel. But I believe that this is a very much a very big talking point in the community that I think it should be surprising if it's not on YouTube basically. And of course, after a little small talk and then a little flirty and teasing right there, a very sadful teasing, they just kind of did a lot of cutesy stuff until, yeah, they both kiss. Of course, after this part of the kiss, which is actually a thing for a lot of the people in the community really love this part, but I mean, me too. And to be honest, it's a very sweet moment, but at this point, even though it's a little out of context, I think you can realize that Cat Noir realized that he can't really do this because I think it's too obvious that he's been conditioned for so long that he can't really love anybody in risk of secret identity and the risk of others being harmed, right? He knows this, but Marinette will see her side, which she actually likes to kiss, and she kind of wants to forget everything that basically, like, she wants to forget all the responsibilities, just want to be in the moment, I would say. I'm sorry if I am a little stuttering. She just got some gas for some reason. After Cat Noir tries to reject Ladybug, or I mean, like, reject Marinette. Technically same person, but they don't know that yet. So basically, like, once Marinette realized, or at least heard that Cat Noir basically rejecting her and telling her that he's not really it, she should love someone else, and she's she's sick and tired at this point of people telling her what she can do and cannot do, and that in the course of this episode is love. And if she doesn't really want to, she will do it in her own accord. Which, to be honest, this is something that, like, season 1 to 2 Marinette would ever do. Season 3 maybe, but like ever since season 4, she always has this mentality, and her friends keep pushing her. And while she does follow, the time in the moment that she wants to be with somebody else, and she already knows that her and Adrian might not be able to work out after all, she just breaks down. And to be honest, this is one of the more sadder moments, and this kind of like shows a lot of Marinette's character growth throughout the series, honestly. And what I mean throughout the series is more like half of season 3 and then 4 and then currently right now. She has a lot of character development, and her character has been changed too, for the better or for worse in her case. But like for her case, like personally for her it's like worse, but for us maybe it's like more character development. She's not like the stalker type of girl that we all know and maybe love, but she became like one of those average girl, but a girl with a lot of character and depth in her character, you know. Of course, her being sad, you already know what's going to happen. Monarch, and I think this might be the first time you guys saw Monarch looking like this on my review series, but yeah, Monarch basically feels this negative emotion, and he's going to try to kumatize Marinette. Of course, this doesn't really work because, you know, main character now has to be Ladybug, and Ladybug has saved the day, right? But here's the most surprising thing. When Hawkmoth convinces her to give Ladybug and Cat Noir's Miraculous to him, Marinette was literally on her own accord willing to give up her Miraculous for the sake of love, you know? Of course, Cat Noir just tries to stop her, but he already knows there's only one way to stop her and snap out of this negative emotion, and that is, well, if you remember from that Valentine's Day episode from like season 1, you already know what's about to happen. After being snapped out of the akumatization process, basically, Marinette realized the severity of her current actions right now, and she almost gave her Miraculous up. Of course, Cat Noir at this point in time, he's saying sorry because that second kiss that he gave her wasn't really because of love. It was mostly because to save her from, you know, getting akumatized. I think she realized this already, and she knows maybe how Cat Noir feels. Who knows? The last time. But currently right now, she is shocked that on her own actions that she left love blind her again, which is upsetting, of course, but at least she's learning. You know, she's learning. And this is maybe, yeah, at this point in time, this part of the episode, I mean the middle part mostly, it's very heartwarming, but also heart-aching at the same time, and then the heartbreaking. Yeah, you feel like 3 different types of hearts here, and that's just really, really something. Of course, we got to the main part, and you already know the drill. Andre basically gets akumatized, turns into the giant ice cream man. This time his special power is Clout, which, if you don't know, which is the power of the tiger, the purple tiger, which is basically like I guess technically it's basically like you can basically like don't know the specifics of the power, but considering how it's been used previously, and I don't remember how it was used this time, it's basically like you a super powerful force that also counterizes the opposite force. So basically, imagine like in that part where Purple Tigress basically punches a giant ship, then when they're both colliding at each other, imagine that punch, like that strong punch, and then the ship's like force on impact reversed, adding to that extra force. It's kind of like that, except for this one's like a super powered punch at this point in time, since there's no such contact. If you're wondering where Marinette is at this time, no, she didn't transform yet, but Cat Noir hide her in the bathroom stall and basically tell her to stay put. A Marinette calls Aya for Tiki. Tiki comes in and it starts to transform, and then the battle ensues. As you see on the right, that's the Ice Cream Man's hand, and this is yeah. So basically, Cat Noir is like, you can't get my Miraculous, you have no hands. And then a little said too soon, because Andre's hand just came out from the ice cream nub and just like so apparently Andre could either extend his human limbs inside out to the limbs of the snowman, or his whole body just moving, like it's just like his outer shell, and he's like the cell that's trying to get over there or something like that. I don't know what the metaphor or acronym like a metaphor would be for this, but yeah, that's pretty much it. And it's also pretty creepy. I might also put this as a clip as well, because it's the more weird but maybe disturbing one, honestly. And to be honest, this fight, it's not that as disturbing, but that part was disturbing. So yeah, nothing much to say, but like the way they defeated him is by impaling a giant umbrella through the snowman, ice cream man, and then burn his ass off. Yeah, you can now say that somebody actually burns someone's asses off in this show. Also impaling people. I think this is maybe not the first time, but maybe one of the few times that somebody got impaled in this show. But it's like okay, because it's not human and stuff. I noticed I just cut out for some reason, so yeah, I won't say anymore. After the fight, you already know the drill. They come to their conclusions that maybe it's the best if they don't really go out and stuff like that. Of course, Marinette will try to still do the little tease about being that type of fan, and then Cat Noir's like, yeah, that type of fan. I don't know, maybe he got it finally or not, but that's a mystery on its own, right? As you can see, Marinette's actually upset still about this. So yeah, this actually correlates with the next episode of her actually being down right now. And then back at the Egress house, Flag basically tells Adrien not to give up on her. At least that's what I think. At least that's what I'm getting from this scene. And that's where basically this episode ends. I told you that this episode review was actually pretty long, because there's a lot of stuff to talk about, and I would actually talk about more. I could basically talk about that episode for at least an hour, but of course we're doing a very quick one. And don't worry, as I said before, the last two are going to be pretty quick, and you'll see why. But first, this next one, episode 10. Now, this is a very interesting type of video, because again, if you look in the description down below, you can already tell that I got this footage from, Miraculous.to. Thank you for them to actually support for us, for people who cannot buy high quality stuff. And yeah, and this one, it is in English, but it's not been translated yet. What's this saying is basically kind of obvious. Transmission, a something the something of Kwamis. I don't know what the rest is, and it's part 1. I know I can translate some of this, but like it's obvious that the only reason why I can translate is because of context clues, and I already know some of Spanish, or actually kind of French, maybe. I think might be French. I cannot really tell, or this is Spanish. A lot of people say this is Portuguese, so I'm very confused on what people think what the language is, basically. So either way, yeah, transmission part 1. And yeah, I'm going to leave my sayings for the end of this video, but as what you would know, this is one of the more interesting ones and maybe the most selfless act that both Kwamis actually did. We go back and you can tell that this is actually a few days after the last video episode, I mean. This is a few days after the last episode. Marinette just stays inside throughout the whole weekend, apparently. I'm guessing that was a whole weekend. And on a weekday, she refuses to go to school. And this is actually the first time she refuses to go to school, actually. Her parents are worried, Tiki's worried. And of course, later in the video, it's context that it's been a few days, or at least maybe a few weeks possibly, that she also changes her voicemail. And her voicemail is very depressing in tone. Back at school, Adrian basically tries to call Marinette, but Marinette doesn't answer, leaving for the voicemail. You already know the message to the voicemail. I'm not going to replay the message, but it is depressing. Depressing sounding. You can tell that she is basically depressed. In her tone. The message itself, like for the voicemail, is not depressing at all. It's just her tone. A little quick quip from Chloe is that this Marinette not being here reminds her of the time back in middle school where Marinette cannot come to school unless she got Chloe's permission. You can tell how much of a bully Chloe was back then. Just kind of cements it right now and to remind, oh yeah, Chloe's here and she's a bitch. You know. Also, yeah, it's just basically them at school. It's actually the end of school if you really must know why they're all leaving. Given the task, the teacher basically tells Aya to deliver the homework to Marinette, but Nino basically nudges Aya to give it to Adrian, and then Aya says that it's best maybe Adrian could go and deliver the homework to her. And while that is a good idea, the main reason why is because Nino noticed that this might be an opportunity for Adrian and Marinette to be together. Oh boy, that won't end so well. If only they knew. Apparently, through a few episodes ago, if you must remember, a few episodes ago, it was in a scene where basically, I think last episode basically. Yeah, it was just last episode, which I just talked about. But I think it might be also from a different episode earlier, but I'm not so sure. But over here, you can see that Marinette took off all the pictures of Adrian again and basically put them in not a trash bin, more like a gift box that resembles like the trash, basically. Adrian did visit. Marinette was surprised. She thought it was Aya. But yeah, she let Adrian in and so they could talk. After talking a bit, Adrian did see Marinette's pictures of him basically in a box. He did accidentally knock them over. But he did ask the one question, is that like, does she still like him? Does she still like him? Because, and then he actually confesses for the first time actually, that he does love her. And he didn't say as a friend, he just said he actually loves her. And then, of course, and for Marinette, she's in the bed still. She looks into her hand because she has her miraculous earrings in her hand. She looks at them at least twice in this interaction, separately at separate times. But for the second time, she says with hesitation, and while Plague and Tiki are actually hiding together, basically hoping that they won't reveal each other's secret identities. Hope they don't reveal each other's secret identities, so like, you know, the superhero thing will be safe and all, you know. That's their main worry, at least for Plague. And Tiki is more worried about like the love thing, but yeah, she is also concerned about that. Marinette seems to be that she's trying to say her words very like hard to say her words. It's more like she either wants to say anything and she's stuck with I am. She's just stuck saying I am until she said I am, right? It's just I am, but I think it's more like I'm, the I apostrophe M, that type of M. But yeah, then she ended up saying that instead of what maybe she really want to say, or maybe this is because with a lot of she put a lot of feeling into this that she just says that I don't like I'm not in love with you anymore, or like I don't love you anymore and stuff like that. While I think the line might be a bit weird, I don't remember which type of I word she was saying. Well, maybe just I or I'm or I am. I don't remember what. But after that, saying that she doesn't like him anymore. Or like she says she used to like him, but she does not anymore. Adrian's sad, basically, and then he just leaves. Sadly. The parents were also kind of just looking as well. And the parents kind of had a very funny moment back in maybe the fewer episodes when they realized these two were talking to each other. But now, I think they did the same thing. I don't remember was this episode or the previous episode. I kind of forgot. But they were actually in the other room, like the kitchen, basically, hoping that something good will happen for Marinette. Adrian just leaves and he's just like, no, he did like no, like she's not fine. He did his best and stuff like that. So yeah, the parents were pretty sad. Adrian sad. The Kwamis are also sad, and Marinette of course is sad. Anyways, back in the school, we see Zoe, and it's kind of implied that Zoe was basically out of town for a while, and she actually just recently came back to Paris, basically. So she's trying to meet up with her other friends, and she did call Marinette first, but Marinette didn't really have the most happy voicemail, basically. And she knows that something is wrong, and she gone back to the art room, and it's surprising that everybody's partying. Reason why? There is definitely exactly no reason why the party is really up here. The only context I can tell you is that this is possibly either a party for school or basically a party that Adrian and Marinette are finally going to be together because of today. Zoe did ask about everybody, or at least Aya, about the voicemail, and always like, oh, don't worry, that was like a few days ago and stuff like that. Yeah, if only they knew now. I think Zoe has like the best intuition, even though she just came back from maybe out of the country. Also, you may have also noticed if you watched the episode, throughout this whole episode, Nora keeps trying to call Aya, but Aya keeps hanging her up. Little did she know that this is a mistake on her own behalf. I did forget to mention to you guys that the interaction with Adrian and Marinette was a bit more longer than just that scene where I said alone, but I just kind of grouped it up together so that you guys would understand the whole thing in that interaction. I just gave you a summary. I could explain it a bit more, but that's all you need to know. Basically, Marinette says like, "I don't love you anymore." Adrian leaves. That's about it. Yeah, but it's the most heartbreaking one. And currently, right now in this scene, Plague basically says that this is a problem for both of their holders, and it's time to basically make a decision. Tiki doesn't know what Plague's talking about, but Tiki kind of also gets it. Plague says that it's basically time to basically choose. It's either to help them quit their superhero responsibility in order to love each other. And that's Plague's idea. He might not like it, and Tiki definitely does not like it, but it's for the sake of their owners, and they had to make a choice, and they did. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. I had to take like, I don't know, like 30 to 50 minutes just to recover from inhaling like air freshener. So yeah, that will tell you how much my dad just sprayed air freshener. He kind of just wasted the whole bottle's worth, and Jesus Christ. Okay, so hopefully I'm okay for now. But where was I? Oh yeah, Gabriel regrets acclimatization, but he really Adrian. So he's going to visit Adrian's room to actually see if everything's all right with Adrian. Basically, Natalie just came out of his room, Adrian's room, and she's suspicious of what Gabriel's doing. And then Gabriel's like, as a good father, I should always try to make my son feel better. Is that so wrong? Natalie's still a little suspicious about that, but she lets Gabriel pass through anyway. Gabriel basically talks about like his feelings towards like the rest of the family, basically, which is basically Lily and him. And yeah, he offers that maybe he should wear the alliance. It'll make him feel happy. And then Adrian's like, okay, I'll wear it. Of course, this also shows at this point in time that Gabriel Gress is really just acting. Now, you guys might have already noticed maybe from the first episode that he was being nice, or maybe like some episodes later in between where like he doesn't think you guys notice that he might not actually care about anybody in the family household in a certain way. But for Adrian, yeah, normally he would never akumatize Adrian because he's his son. He cannot risk him being harmed and stuff. Now, he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't give a crap about it. He's like, okay, it's time to make my son feel better by giving it item that will help me make my acclimatization stronger. You can tell that he just gave the ring only for him to possibly get angry again, and just in case if Adrian does get Akuma angry enough to get akumatized again, at least now he has a way to give him a miraculous power. That's his whole plan. And yes, this is at least part right now that Gabriel does not give a shit about his son anymore. Well, he does, just not his well-being anymore. He doesn't care about his well-being. This is a whole act just to earn trust, and I think it might be the time that Gabriel might be planning something big. But we'll have to wait for into the end of this series, or at least the season, end of the season most likely, to see this plan unfold, and maybe his plan on why he's actually smiling right here. But of course, after this, Adrian just takes off the ring and he just lies down. Plague actually flies in and he starts to talk, and at the same time, Tiki talks to Marinette. Now, both of them say that it is time to basically resign as their hero duties and give up the miraculous, and they'll find a new owner. Basically, that's what they're saying. Adrian and Marinette, while they're both reluctant at first, they agree to give it away because they know why they're doing this. And of course, it was mostly because for their like situation with their love. They know that as a superhero they can't really do this, but maybe with the responsibility gone, maybe they could. We do have a heartfelt moment with Tiki and Marinette. However, this is maybe the sad part too because it's also a heartbreaking part. So Marinette basically asked Tiki, "What will I ever see you again?" And all Tiki said was, "I'll never forget you." You already know what that means. After Adrian feeling the negative emotions, again, Hawkmoth is ready to try to akumatize his own son. However, then Adrian actually felt happy because he realized now that he could actually visit Marinette once more, and he forgot to give her the homework, so he has another chance to make things right, and then the negative feelings are gone. Hawkmoth or Monarch basically felt another one, which was Marinette, but then Marinette also has the positive feelings once more, and of course started to just go outside on a balcony, I believe, or just in her room, trying to maybe pull it up the Adrian pictures again. And yeah, she was putting up the Adrian pictures up again, and Adrian actually just kind of stormed in without knocking, and basically just like, "Hey, I forgot to give you your homework," and stuff like that. And Marinette just kept stuttering, and she's upset that she's stuttering because even without the little responsibility that she has to do, she still have this feeling for him, and that she stutters. But Adrian has maybe the best idea, which, to be honest, maybe her friends could have done this earlier, but then again, it would just be kind of stupid on Marinette's part, maybe. But like, Adrian had a very smart plan. Adrian says to Marinette that to answer his questions, because he had some questions for Marinette, it's basically yes or no questions. So she'll raise her right hand for yes, no, right hand for no, oh wait, left hand for no. Oh god, I cannot distinguish left and right in the opposite direction sometimes. Okay, if I remember correctly, Adrian says is that for the yes or no answers, no is for left, right is for yes. So he asks the first few questions. Of course, just a teeny bit like time before this, they actually her parents saw this because they were gonna ask Marinette, and then yeah. Oh, that was just kind of funny, and it's comedic. It's just comedic movement because it looks like they just got photoshopped like downward, which is funny, but it makes sense for this scene. So yeah, Adrian's gonna start asking questions. I will not tell you what the questions are exact, but at least for the last few ones, he's basically like, well, it's basically there were the big ones. It's like, do you like me? Like, do you love me? Right? And then Marinette's like, she raises her right hand for yes. And then Adrian said, well, ask, of course. Adrian asked the question like, you said you used to hate me. Like, you said you don't love me anymore in the past. Is that true? And then she raises her, I don't know. She raises her, I think, right hand, possibly. But then maybe her left for no, possibly. I really don't remember, because the thing is, for Adrian's questions, I think for some of them make no sense, or at least worded differently than what I can remember. But in the next one, what make Adrian surprised was basically Marinette raises her left hand for no. I think what he said, and this is every time I try to discuss this with every other person, I always get it mixed up. What I think Adrian actually said for her to raise her left hand by accident is basically the question would be, you said you don't like me anymore. That's not true, right? Or like, that's not true anymore, right? And then Marinette raises her left hand for no. Adrian got a little sad. Marinette's like, oh, I always mix up my lefts and rights and stuff like that. So Adrian asks the question one more time. She raises her right hand, asks a few more other questions, and she kept raising her right hand kind of quickly and shyly, basically. Now, I know I've been stuttering for like the longest time there, but again, this episode has a lot to talk about. And what happens now is that their friends are trying to basically help Adrian and Marinette to be together, because they're very slow and they didn't realize what's happening. Because they call call Adrian, but then yeah, it didn't really work. At this moment in time, Zoe decided to walk out because she wants to help Marinette in her own way. And of course, Nora did call for Aya again, but Aya declined the call again. Again, this might be her fault. Just saying. Finally, she did answer. I think maybe this is the third or second time, honestly. Or fourth time. I lost count. But yeah, apparently the reason why Nora called Aya is that she need help to calm down Cookie. Cookie is the name of possibly Nora's boyfriend. Now, honestly, I mean, like, yeah, this might be all of a sudden, but then again, remember, Nora is a side character, so makes sense that she would actually have something in the sidelines as well. So yeah, Cookie is basically her boyfriend, possibly, question mark. or just maybe a very good friend. I really don't know. Never been said confirmedly or anything, but Aya seems to know Cookie, and Cookie has a very bad temper and a very much lacks patience, and he's not good with his words at times when he needs to argue his side. So he got angry, and you already know what happens. At this point in time, both Tiki and Plague are basically trying to find new miraculous holders. Tiki thinks that she found one, which is basically Alia. Then like Plague, knowing who would be good, thinks of Nino, but he realizes if he did that, Nino and Alia would or might still talk about each other, their secret identities, and yeah. Plague doesn't want that whole love circle thing again and decides to find a different owner. So the reason why I show you this is because Plague chooses Zoe because of convenience and lures her into the subway. I don't know why, specifically luring her to the dark alleyway of a subway, but you know, Plague does his own thing, so you take that up with Plague. And then Tiki talks with Alia. Alia's like, I can't do this. Like, she cannot be Ladybug because she doesn't want to keep the secret with Nino. But if it's for to help Marinette and her love life, she'll do it. Which is selfless, but maybe also selfish, maybe? I don't know. But she did this for the help of her own friend. But yeah. Of course, the rule is that she cannot tell Nino about this for obvious reasons. Because that's basically the number one rule. It didn't stop them from last time. Though that's only because last time they were given Miraculous at the same time, Nino and Alia. So, yeah. We did go back to Adrian and Marinette. They're still having that little, um, like, like little bonding time basically together. Nothing weird and all, just like with the homework and stuff and talking. And then, you know, they did like the little like bump heads into each other because they're trying to pick up like the homework. But then they heard a commotion outside and realized it was a villain. And then they both realized without telling each other that they don't have their powers anymore. So they had to rely on they both had to rely on the Ladybug and Cat Noir, which for both of them who do not know, they realized that both of them both like themselves, they themselves cannot really save the day. Adrian's like, I hope Ladybug got this. Marinette's like, well, I hope Ladybug and Cat Noir got this. And both of them realize that they kind of fucked up, possibly. We see the Kumatai's villain. This is Cookie, although he does go by another name, and you see he is just a very big teddy bear. If you cannot tell, if you can see through that green shield, basically, it is of course obviously a bear face. So yeah, he's just a big teddy bear. He might be a softie inside. So we have two new superheroes. Skelebella is back, of course. But as for the other one, we don't know what Zoe's, hero name would be. But of course, they got the attention of the Kumatai's villain, and they start the fight. And I'm going to skip the fight here, but this is a very interesting fight choreography that actually involves some of the outside people. Mostly fighters, but still involve outside people. And surprisingly, all Skelebella and of course the new Cat Noir, for now I will say, both of them actually have a very good team composition, I would say. They both work together pretty well because they actually communicate. And I think that might be a very good reason, since if you remember from the Season 1 finale, which is the origin story, it was mostly Ladybug taking the lead while Cat Noir just follows instructions, or at least tries to improvise a little bit. For both of these, they actually cooperate fully half and half, so that's actually really nice. They did win at the end, and I gotta say that the Kumatai's villain, he has 5 miraculous powers. 5. He has multiplication, invincibility, shield, and he had more, but I don't think he actually uses the other two, honestly. Yeah, I don't think he actually uses the other two powers. He only uses 3 out of the 5, unless he uses all 5, which that means I really forgot. The only thing I could possibly remember is that he also maybe have the power of Clout, which is like a superpower punch, just like with the snowman from maybe last episode. And yeah, that's about it. I don't know if that's the exact one, but yeah, that's like 3 to 4 powers out of the 5 that I do know. And that's about it. They did win at the end of the day. After resolving all this, Nora and Cookie kind of still have their little argument, honestly. And if you really want to know, it doesn't look like it. But when you first saw like Nora actually walk in, she might not be as bulky, but she is actually taller than Cookie here. Also, Cookie seems to be maybe a, I don't know, he might be referencing another character, or at least a real life person, but it could just be an archetype, but I don't know. Also, that's a lot of gold. And here's the thing, Hawkmoth or Monarch says he has 5 alliances, which the alliances are silver. Unless they're blocked by this hand right now, or were missing this whole time, or the rings are gold, they're supposed to be silver. And unless he has that gold, like the gold exclusive version of the alliance, which possibly means he's super rich, given all the gold he's wearing. Yeah, that would make sense why it was hard to tell. But I think the alliance's rings are still silver and only silver, so it might be on his other hand, which means this guy has like 10 rings on his hand. Might as well like maybe go and take over the world possibly in a certain universe, but like you know what. And I'm not talking about the Marvel universe. If you know about the 10 rings, then you would know. But yeah, later, don't worry. With the help of Skelebella just saying like, oh, just make up already. They did. So yeah, we don't, so apparently you do not need a heroic speech or a heroic speech with a lesson in it. You just need to say, make up already. And that's it. Straight to the point. Never give anybody a lesson, just say, just make up already. That's about it, because you have authority. Yes, way to go, Alia. Just give them an authority. Oh, Jesus Christ. Hopefully this doesn't end bad for the next episode. And of course, after saving the day, Adrian and Marinette were happy that they actually have 2 new superheroes, and they could just rely on them, while they actually, right now, are now a couple. This is the episode that they are an actual couple. Finally, after 5 freaking seasons, 4.5 seasons, we basically got the ship that we always wanted. Way to go. Cannot wait for the next part. Cannot wait for part 2. Episode 12. So this is episode 12, Perfection. There is definitely no pun here, but yes, it's just perfection. If you really must know, um, since this already kind of gave away part 2, I'll just say right now, Ladybug and Cat Noir got their Miraculous back. However, they're super chummy for some reason. And for the first minute or so, we got a montage of both of these two basically talking together and basically just saying like, it's so good that we can just talk together and like, do all this stuff. Like you have some stuff, I have some stuff after this. It's all good, we don't need to worry about us. And they're like, yeah, we're just good old partners, good old friends doing crime and stuff. Like they're doing crime, stopping crime, I mean. Yeah, stopping crime and stuff. Like you got a girlfriend and I got like no, but you got a boyfriend, I got a girlfriend, everything's all fine. And of course, the best thing is that we can just tell each other about each other's girlfriends and boyfriends and not actually, like, reveal our secret identities. It's so good. It's like, yeah, it's so good, They're just so happy that they can just be friends, nothing weird about them, and they have their own personal lives, which they could just talk about, but not actually, all that other stuff. And that's actually really sweet. And apparently, it seems that their relationship is just very, very good. Like, very good. And the best part is, again, they do not know each other's secret identities, but they are technically still dating each other. But as Cat Noir and Ladybug, they're just super chummy, friendly partners who are just best friends at this point. Of course, afterwards, when Marinette comes home, so a few minutes after that, Kagami called. Remember Kagami? Yes. Kagami seems to just came back home from Japan again, or maybe she basically want to visit. The reason why she's calling, nobody knows. Marinette thinks that she might just be calling to see how her progress with Adrian is coming along, and like, I cannot talk to Kagami because she will just judge me, and I want to be my very best when I meet her again, and to show her that I accomplished this on my own and stuff like that. At least that's what her mindset is. Oh boy, is she ever wrong. In the meantime, all her friends, all Marinette's friends, and that includes Adrian, wants them to relive one of Marinette's fantasies. One is basically both of them loving each other. And listen, I really do love when they go anime style in this one. You can tell this is like this is completely shoujo, right? This is like a show. This is really shoujo right here, and I love it. I really love this. I would actually read a manga of this art. Oh my fucking god! It's so good and surprisingly very accurate on the genre of manga. I want to talk about a lot more on manga and stuff like that, but I am not going to do it right now because we are basically caring for time, and I'm trying to do this very quickly. So basically, throughout the few minutes of this episode, we're trying to get Marinette and Adrian to relive a love fantasy that Marinette has, at least, and possibly Adrian. And it does not go so well because Marinette has a very hard time, still has a very hard time communicating and be around Adrian, even though they are a couple. And the reason why? My only theory is that she wants to be with Adrian alone, and she can only be with him alone, not with anybody else forcing pressure on her. I think that's the reason why. Skipping a few minutes, Adrian has an idea. He writes a song for Marinette and will sing it on the boat, and will sing it for her. It's a love song in his own way, in rock form, in rock and roll form, I should say, which is nice. Marinette, this whole time, oh boy, Marinette this whole time, she tries to practice saying I love you. She cannot say I love you to even a picture of Adrian. She cannot say I love you to a picture of Adrian, which is super weird. So yeah, so what she did before was basically she takes a picture of a cow, and will say moo instead as a little thing like love you, and she said moo. It's like I love you, I love you, moo, like that. And it was like, oh god, that is so embarrassing, stupid, but it could work. It's a bit smart, but it's just so embarrassing. What if Adrian doesn't get it, what she's trying to say? God damn it. I should also say that Kagami is also here. Remember when I said that Kagami tried to call Marinette earlier? Yeah, she's still trying to do that. There is no exact reason why she's doing this yet in the episode, but yeah, she's still doing it. So she decided to follow, like, Aya, and, to see if Marinette's okay. And yes, she's technically okay, but every time Kagami tries to comfort Marinette, she just basically gets denied. And at this point in time, and of course earlier in the episode, she does have a checklist. She checks almost everything out of the box, and then realizing we don't know what, she basically just runs away. We realize that later that the letter that she has is basically a checklist. Adrian finds it first because Kagami actually ran away from her own car because she doesn't know where to go now. Adrian reads it and is like, it's more like those checklists is like, if your friend doesn't if your friend does these 10 things to you, she or he is not your friend. It's one of those stupid internet questions of friendship. Like, if your friend does these 10 things to you, then like they're not, your friendship is fake or something like that. And that is stupid, honestly. And that's basically the reason why. And of course, this is Kagami, and Kagami does get akumatized. What she gets akumatized to? Well, she turns into a giant cloud. And of course, she does get the miraculous power of the dragon, which she becomes mostly just air and water, but mostly air. And of course, she has no really special. She doesn't have special powers or anything. Her only power is to ignore every human. Basically, no one can bother her anymore, except physical objects. Basically, so she can still harm people, but she would never know because she's always alone in her own little mind space. Cat Noir and Ladybug try their very best to basically trying to talk to Kagami, but she won't listen because of the power. They tried many things, but they realized that later she realized a helicopter. So they realized that again, maybe like the third time that they realized like there's a chain. There's like a chain of realization in this, but like they know that she can see objects. So what they try to do is use objects to make words. The first one they make is actually the kanji word for talk, and that's interesting and is actually an accurate kanji. I am very surprised. Marinette does have a plan. Well, of course I should say, but then again, you already guys know who Marinette and Ladybug are. They're the same person. But like Ladybug basically has a plan to, because of her lucky charm, she will make a picture, because this is like those friendship bracelet things, but like those art things, like pixel art or something like that. Pixel like bead art or something like that. I don't know what the real word is, but like yeah. So basically, with the help of everybody and their friends, they basically make a picture that represents that they love Kagami and will always be her friend. Kagami thinks that she doesn't have any friends, but now she knows that everybody's here for her, to help her. And that is a very sweet moment. And here's the thing, Kagami is like maybe possibly the least popular character in Miraculous, and not a lot of people like her or remember her. So this is a really nice, like, oh, Kagami is a character, you should be fine with her. I think this is like a coincidence, but this actually is a very good Kagami episode. And in all honesty, this is just a wholesome moment. And because of this, seeing her picture that everybody actually loves her and will be her friend and will always be there for her, or will always be there is like in quotation marks in like a hypothetical situation, you know? Because in reality, like, they will not always be there for you, but like they will try to be as much as they can. And because of this, Kagami does actually break free of the kunzization by herself. And basically, yeah, at the end of the day, the cheers that she will hear later is basically cheers for her, and not for Marin, not for like Ladybug, Cat Noir because they saved the day. There is all cheers for Kagami because they're here to support her and will be her friend. And that, yeah, that's really sweet, and that is just a wonderful moment. I know I am a little rushing here, and I would love to say more, but again, remember, I don't want to talk about too much here. There's a lot of things going on about the love thing, but this episode does actually kind of spoil, and it does have some hints on what happened like it has some references to episode like 11, which never came out yet. So I'm not going to talk about those references, but just for the main point, I'm just talking about the, you know, mostly the main story here and not any references. So, but this is very nice. Oh boy. And that's basically the end of this episode, honestly. It's a very simple episode, mostly focused around Kagami in the end. Because, you know, relationships. I think this whole thing was about relationships with Marinette, basically, and Adrian's. Like, Adrian and Marinette's relationship with other characters, specifically. And Kagami's one of them. I wonder what you're gonna do next. I forgot to also mention that Kagami's mother is a thing, and she has a deal with Gabriel. And listen, while I say this, you do not want to mess with her and her daughter, because if you mess with her daughter, she is going to break your arm. And here's the thing: she did attack Gabriel unsuspectingly. She broke his big computer screen, right? And basically got his arm in a very bad position. And let me tell you, it's the arm that he got decayed right now. The arm that's now like blackened and decaying. And she's about to almost break the bones on that forearm right there. I think Gabriel forgot to feel what it's like to have your own child just get akumatized. And of course, Gabriel promises he will never akumatize Kagami again. So episode 16. Episode 16, Protection. There is a lot of things here that implies a lot of stuff. So many implications about this relationship between Marinette and Adrian that I'm assuming that their friends are trying to do this multiple times. And there are possibly some events that I just glossed over in this episode that actually might have spoiled a lot from the previous 4 episodes that have never appeared yet. I do not know why. I do not know why they're doing this, but all I'm going to tell you right now, and this is going to be maybe the quickest review of an episode I'm doing, besides the Ruby stuff that I did. Yeah, that this is another Kagami episode. And Kagami becomes the Silver Samurai, I guess. That's what me and my old friend group actually said about that. It's like, it's the Silver Samurai. But this time, the Kumatai's person is a Kagami again. She thinks that she got manipulated by Lila. Okay? I'm not going to show you any scenes in this one because you got to watch this for yourself. But also, you guys might have to watch the other 4 episodes first before you watch this episode to maybe get more context to this episode, because there's a lot and it says a lot, because I cannot tell you anything about the love plot in this one because there's so much of the love thing between Marinette and Adrian at this point that it feels like that Marinette and Adrian are tired of their friends actually getting through their relationship and trying to make a fantasy worthwhile, while they don't want to do that anymore. They just want to get the relationship at their own time. And you can tell that they're super annoyed at this. So I'm actually wondering what happened in the past few episodes. I cannot talk about the love plot. I can only talk about the action plot, which, to be honest, on its own, the action plot feels like there's some context missing, especially for Kagami and Lila. But then Lila kind of just came in and then like, oh, don't worry, I'll be your best friend and stuff like that. But then she starts to manipulate like Kagami. She manipulates Kagami, and then like Marinette only does this because she likes Adrian and will only focus on Adrian, and then lies to other people that she will want to get to Adrian. And then of course try to get that all sweet innocent girl act, and then like, Lila, you're talking about yourself here. I don't know what the hell you're thinking. But then again, here's the thing: nobody sees past through Lila's lies. Get it? But like only Marinette and Adrian know about Kagami's lies. And that is sad. At the end of the episode, of course, don't worry. They actually, the thing is that Kagami, after she's done being akumatized, she reluctantly, like, refuses the help of the charm, the miraculous charm from Ladybug. So like she feels that maybe it's best to have Marinette fix this. Marinette talks to Kagami, but then like it kind of didn't work almost. Like Marinette almost got to her, but then Kagami still kind of tried to refuse. Then Adrian comes in. Don't worry, he transforms back like off scene. Adrian comes back and basically talks to Kagami, and then they kind of convince her. Kagami breaks down crying, and she apologizes for everything she has done and doubts them, and she tries to be a better friend. Then Adrian and Marinette's like, no, we're sorry. And they all three of them hugged out. It's one of the sweetest moments, honestly. And this is like another good Kagami episode, which I really do like. And the three of them are now back to being friends. Of course, now Kagami is a little sus to Lila, but then Lila's like, don't worry, you are still my best friend. We all know she's lying, but Kagami will take it. But Kagami is a little bit more suspicious on that front. So don't worry. Hopefully they don't change that. So yeah, I could say more about the action. It seems like in this action part, right? It seems like Kagami is still has feelings for Adrian, but she doesn't want to interfere with Adrian and Marinette's love life. And she respects that, and she will do that. To be honest, I can relate to Kagami here in a lot of ways, honestly. But that's enough said. And if I said more, I feel like this have been explained possibly in the last few episodes, like the last 4 episodes that were never released yet. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, that's all I could say currently about this episode specifically. Because the thing is, until the other episodes come out, I cannot give a full good review on this. Because in all honesty, the true thing about this is the relationship between Adrian and Marinette, basically. And that's like half of this episode, and I cannot do anything about that because I want more context just to be sure if their sudden shift of behavior, the sudden shift of Marinette and Adrian's behavior specifically, was it built up in the previous episodes? Because in this one is very sudden, and yeah, I don't know. And I don't know how their friends became so dumb in this one. But yeah, about Kagami, I hope that maybe we get another, at least one more episode of Kagami, and that was before this one, but after episode 12. Hopefully, this might be in like episode 14, possibly. I'm hoping because I want to see if there was more Kagami episodes that I kind of missed, and hopefully we get more context of that. Because if there's only 2 episodes of Kagami, like between 12 and 16, yeah, I really don't know. So my rating for 12 and 16 are very, very screwed, because at this point I might give these episodes a lower ranking only because of the review so far that I gave, and also the context, basically. So does this action plot hold up at all compared to others? To be honest, this one right here. This might be one of the best episodes in the season. However, I do want context to see if this part was built up or it was not built up, because I cannot get the Adrian and Marinette side anymore, because again, I need more context to that side. But other than that, like the main focus is Kagami. Yes, it's a very good Kagami episode. I'm just hoping that there was another episode that actually kind of led up to this. That is not episode 12. Episode 12 itself is a very good startup for this one. This is like maybe Kagami's story arc in these past few episodes that were not released yet, but I really don't know. And I'm hoping they do get released soon. But anyways, that is it for the review for episode 16. A very super short one, but I still like this nonetheless.